at 5:30. Nikki, you're a Bulls fan? Okay.
Lost the bet, maybe.
Everyone rolling? Coach, start off with a brief statement.
Yep. Good week of practice so far. Obviously, have a few more days prior to Tuesday's tip, where we'll have our home opener, and we'll really start diving into our preparation starting today to go through Rice.
I guess they're playing an exhibition game tonight. So I don't know if they played one of those close scrimmages or what, but
They did.
Yeah. Do you know who they played? And
We
you get
do.
a bootleg tape of it, or?
No.
Well, I guess what do you know about these guys?
Adams is really good at the point guard position. He's a lefty, crafty, can make a three ball. Martin, who can play the 4-3. If they wanted to play really small, he could probably play some 5, number 10. They run some isolation stuff for him. They play a little bit in transition. They're really well coached. Scott Parra is a really good coach. They run a lot of screen, re-screen action, so we're going to have to defend pick and rolls really well. Chris Mullen at the off-guard spot. Another good player. The nucleus of their team is all returning. They're a scary team because of experience. They had a lot of guys returning off of last year's team.
What do you think your emotion level is going to be? I know there's a few fans of the red-white game and the exhibition games. What do you think Tuesday night's going to be like for you?
It doesn't really matter how I feel. It's how the guys in uniform. I mean, I'll just like every opener, I'll be excited. Obviously, when you're coaching in front of our fans, it's a new experience for me. But I've coached enough games where you walk in and you got to just focus on what happens between the lines, really.
How ready do you think you guys are to open the season?
Great question. Can I tell you at about 9:45 on Tuesday?
You know, a lot of good.
I think that as coaches, all of us would like a little bit more prep time, especially if you're new, to try to get your team ready. Having said that, I'm not the only coach. Probably a whole bunch of us thinking the same thing, that you'd like another couple weeks. But I do think our players are ready to play a game. They're ready to get out of this practice mode that we've been in, because your practice starts changing dramatically once you get into the regular season, for sure, because you kind of start focusing on prep on teams that you play. You try to clean up some of the stuff that you get off film. But I think we're about as ready as we could be for trying to implement a new system and stuff. And I think they're tired of hearing me, and so we need to start playing some games for sure.
How do you guys respond to some of the overload theory, the gloves, weighted vest, string, that kind of thing?
Guess probably have to ask them. They might have a different perspective than me. But the weighted vests have helped us, I think, in our skeleton to try to emphasize, working to get open a little bit more. Obviously the gloves are just, you take those gloves off and it becomes easier to catch, dribble, and shoot. So just kind of an overload principle that we've used for 3 days, and we're not going to probably do that again. The strings were just kind of a, move at the same time, like you're on a string, because we're still trying to work on our defensive concepts off the ball, not necessarily on the ball, but our weak side defenders become really important, and they have to move on a string. So no better way to illustrate that than actually use a string.
The towel drill, I saw some video of that. Jimmy talked about that, where they're holding the towel up.
Yep.
Sliding. Well, I guess that's playing defense without fouling, or kind of what's the
Exactly.
principle behind
Yep.
that?
We've had too many fouls, so that's just a body up, hands up type of drill that we use. We've done it in the past. We just want our guys to be as disciplined as we possibly can. Actually, if like Rice was, I think, 53rd in the country from the free throws attempted standpoint, so we're going to have to defend them without fouling. It's an area where the game is being reffed a little bit tighter this year. I think every beginning of the year, the whistles, you hear a lot more whistles, whether it's a high school season, a college season, NBA season, you just hear more whistles early on. And so that was just a drill we were trying to do to, try not to foul, try not to use your hands.
These are things you did in Nevada or picked up somewhere else? Or?
No, we did them at Nevada, and probably if you ask some of our Earl Boykins, probably tell you that we did some of it at, even in Golden State. Just little things to try to get in the, it's not, we're not going to play defense with a towel for an hour, but hopefully if you do it for a couple minutes, it just kind of illustrates in their head the importance of it instead of just talking about it or blowing a whistle and saying, hey, you fouled the guy. I mean, it's just another way for us to try to emphasize, today we're probably going to pull out a bubble and put it on the rim and work on our rebounding, chasing rebounds at different angles. Again, just little short themes that you might only do for 5 minutes and then move on to the next thing.
What do you see from Gene Tall in his first couple of exhibition games, and what does he bring to his team this season?
Yeah, JC's, gives us experience, obviously. He gives us a guy that can play the 4, the 3, and some 5 if we want to play small. Can make an open 3 and can pass, dribble, shoot. A little bit inconsistent. He played really, really well that game that we started him, and then he played better as a starter than the second game. But he's been great in our practices, had a great attitude, great work ethic, and certainly a guy that we're going to need to be a contributor for us.
Did Mason Jones kind of continue the momentum he had from the last game?
Yes, he's had another good week of practice, much better than the week prior to him not starting in the exhibition. He's been very focused and brought the same energy and enthusiasm that he had the prior week.
I know you watched a lot of film, getting ready to take the job. What was your take on Adriel Bailey, and maybe, and since you've started coaching him, what's that been like? How do you think he's played in the preseason?
So, obviously in his 2 preseason games, he hasn't missed a field goal. I thought, one of the areas that we kind of talked to him about was just being a really good, taking pride in good shot selection, taking pride in being a guy that we could play through at the top of the key where he could throw and chase pick and rolls, where he could be involved in dribble handoff situations. I thought he had some great moments last year, and then I thought he had some moments with some inconsistency as well. So we just talked to him about being a senior, being a leader, being a guy that we need a consistent approach to. And to me, he should fly around the floor. He should be a great loose ball getter. He should be a very good offensive rebounder. He should give us an identity with how hard he plays, and not take ill-advised shots, so to speak. And so far, I think he's bought in. Again, the lights come on and things change with people, players sometimes, but he fits what we want to do. He's got great athleticism. He's got a great attitude. He's a big-time personality in our locker room as well.
Tendency maybe at times to take ill-advised shots. I mean, everybody likes to shoot, but he maybe took some jump shots. I think he said after the red or white game they weren't in his wheelhouse. With a senior, is that tough to tell him, hey, you might have taken these shots the last couple of years?
No, it's tough to tell a guy making $10 million not to take that shot. It's pretty easy to tell a college senior, freshman, sophomore, junior.
Adriel pretty receptive.
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, he's been great because we just keep thinking loose ball getter, energy guy, a guy that you really can't game plan for, awesome cutter from the weak side, all those type of things. I think he can have a big impact on games for us, running the floor, finishing on the break, those type of things.
Which players have you seen step up in leadership roles?
I think that you want leadership from all of your players. I think sometimes, people think that leadership's just 1 or 2 guys. I think leadership comes in a lot of different areas. It comes, there's leadership in the locker room. There's leadership on weekends when you're not around the coaches. There's leadership on the floor. There's leadership in practice. I think there's been a lot of guys, Jimmy Witt leads by example. He quietly goes about his job. Mason Jones and J5 have been leaders in the fact that they come in and get shots and reps up at all hours on weekends and so forth. And Scylla, same thing, where he's been coming in and getting shots. And so that's leadership through example on hours when coaches aren't around. And so I think there's been a lot of guys that have shown leadership. Isaiah Joe just does his job every day. He steps in with the third team. And so that, I think we've had a lot of guys. Adrio's a guy that leads us at the end of every practice and breaks the huddles for us from a verbal standpoint. So I think there's been a lot of guys that have helped from a leadership standpoint, and that's what you need. You can't just rely on one or two players to lead a team, especially if you talk about being a player-led program or a player-led team. They got to lead as much as the coaches do.
I think you were head coach when you were 23, right? Is that right?
I stood on the sidelines and had that title.
Well, I guess
I don't know how much coaching. My dad used to tell me that I didn't know jack at that age, but yes, I had that title.
So you've been doing this a long time, a lot of different places, opened up a lot of seasons. With your first season here at Arkansas, I know you said you hope this will be your last job. What's your level of excitement and anticipation for Tuesday night, the regular season opener at this new place?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. The fans, the community's been awesome to my daughter, my wife, myself. But I've been around long. Like the honeymoon ends on Tuesday when we jump ball, and so. But we're excited about. I think we're going to have a really good crowd. We hope to have a good student section, and then what we can control is our effort, and hopefully earn people's respect to want to come back and watch us play again. I guess is you just take one game at a time, and in the past we've done mini goals like, hey, this 5-game segment we got to try to go 4-1, and we tried all these different. This year with this team, like, we're just going to worry about we're 0-0. How do we go 1-0 on this particular game? And that's like something that we're only focused on Rice right now. Like, that's the only thing. Our players, our coaches, that's all we need to worry about.
Kind of leads in, I haven't seen any publications where you guys are picked to go the NCAA tournament. You're kind of picked down in most of the preseason projections. And, it's not surprising because Daniel's gone. You don't have a lot of size. But what are your expectations?
I think just to worry about, like I said, Bob, just worry about like the next game on our schedule. I think that's who we are. I think that we're going to have different game plans, different nights based on our personnel and being a little bit smaller maybe than certain teams. And hopefully our style of play kind of continues to evolve. So as far as expectations, I don't want to put any expectations on our guys other than every team right now, I would assume, has the same goal. They want to play beyond the last game on your schedule. We've read everything. I continue to read. Now a lot of the beat writers around the league are doing their things. And, I mean, not much respect. And so we have to just go earn it. We understand. I mean, obviously at media day, the SEC had, wherever we were. And if you start reading some of the stuff from people that cover the league the last few years, it's even lower with some people. So you just go get ready to play. You use it as motivation internally, and we'll see where it ends up at the end of the year.
You got the open practice on Saturday. I know you've already played some exhibitions, but what are you kind of hoping the fans will come by and see from you guys?
Well, the first thing on Saturday is hopefully, we have a great football crowd. And we just kind of felt like with foot traffic, people come to football games early and they're, walking around campus. We felt like, hey, our doors are open if somebody wants to come in and take a peek at our team. But, we're practicing when we are so that we have enough time to shower and get over to support the football team. But we just kind of, again, felt like there's going to be people around here, and if you want to come stick your head in, and we'll be done well in advance, 2 hours or whatever before the football game. If you want to check us out, come, and we're going to practice like we always do. We're not going to set it up where it's a scrimmage situation or And we're going to do our same drills and our same prep work, and just kind of felt like some people might be intrigued, and they can come down if they are, and if not, just head over to the stadium.
You guys are going at 10 a.m. or when do you start?
11:15.
Anything else, Coach?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything new with Van Hover?
Nothing new.